Yeah, we want Dying Light. We don't want Dead Island 2 anymore. We want this bullshit on here. We want Dead Island, motherfucker.
Man, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of MavAttack. We're here to talk about pretty much the existence of Dead Island. Like, is it gone? Like, what the heck is going on with Dead Island, right? So developers Yeager Games spoke out recently about being pulled off of the project Dead Island 2 so late in development from publisher Deep Silver, and how that was just a catastrophic blow to not only the company but the game itself. Now, why talk about Dead Island? It's so random just to bring up Dead Island. Well, Dead Island has been in my life, at least, for a very long time, ever since early development on Dead Island 1. I helped run one of the biggest fan forums on the internet. I had a video, early Dead Island footage that got like mad views on YouTube. Dead Island has just always intrigued me in some way. I can't even explain like why I was like mesmerized by the game, but I was just always in tune with it. So I had to talk about it, I had to bring it to the channel again because I did do a discussion video prior when I first started the YouTube channel. So anyway, let's talk about the first Dead Island. So Dead Island was a freaking awesome game, right? The co-op was fun. Now, technically the game was buggy, but to its core, it was pretty much a co-op narrative RPG where the narrative lacked a lot of it actually. You know, it sets the mood right in the beginning of the game and it kind of loses it midway, and then to the end it just kind of loses it. But anyway, so what happens next? I mean, we want another Dead Island game, but at the same time we want all the technical issues and all the bugs and everything fleshed out. So I'm sitting around expecting some kind of DLC, some kind of like, you know, some kind of special little thing on the side. We don't get that. We get a whole nother freaking game, and it's not the second game, it's not Dead Island 2. It's pretty much like a direct sequel continuing on from the main game. I don't really understand, you know, why Riptide came to fruition, or why Riptide was even a thing. I never finished Riptide. I watched somebody play through it. I played maybe like an hour or two of Riptide because it was the same thing, but less fun. Like, it was just on another island, but with a monsoon hit and water rises and there's fighting in the water and you have to get on boats and you have to like drive, you have to steer around zombie. It just wasn't a fun game to me. But Riptide, I threw that aside. You know, they added a new main character. It's pretty much a direct sequel of Dead Island. So it's not Dead Island 2, but Dead Island Riptide was a direct sequel. So then the game was just kind of up in the air. Like, what's gonna happen now? I know somebody's got to be working on it. What is going on with Dead Island? Because this is one of my all-time favorite zombie games with friends. Like, it's just a good-ass time. Melee fighting. The guns weren't as good. And that's another thing about Riptide, is they did get the guns down, right? The guns actually were effective in combat. But aside from that, it was just not a very good game. So I'm sitting here thinking, you know, what's next for Dead Island? Are they going to just ditch the franchise entirely? Are they going to start something new with similar gameplay elements? With like, what is going to come about this game, right? So a little later on down the road, Escape Dead Island is announced, right? Now I'm excited because they advertise it as a stealthy sort of Zelda-esque Dead Island game, right? So I'm like, oh my gosh, this game is going to be freaking amazing. And then I never had the chance to actually play it because it came out on last gen and PC. I couldn't get it on PC because my PC wasn't strong enough, and I just didn't want to pay for it because I was seeing reviews about the game saying this is one of the worst games of the year. But anyway, I had to get my hands on it. I had to try it. This game is fucking terrible. Like, technically it's bad, gameplay mechanics wise it's horrible, and it made its way onto my top 10 worst games of 2014. Like, that game was horrible. So they're like continuously running Dead Island into the ground. Like, it's a decent franchise. Like, it has potential to be something like zombies on an island with tribes, and like, it just had a different it was just a different concept, and then something drew me in about it. So then they had Dead Island Epidemic, which is a free-to-play MMORPG. Dead Island was in limbo completely. Like, Dead Island was just, I know it was in between the Dead Island MMO and Riptide, but around this time there was a trailer shown, and I forget whether it was at E3, you know, Gamescom. It was shown somewhere. It was a game about parkour and zombies, and I'm like, oh snap! Is this a new Dead Island game? Like, what is this? So dudes are running through the streets, hopping on walls, you know what I'm saying, running, trying to get out before sundown, right? Like, I was like, what is this game? It's like a zombie game, but with parkour. Like, is this a new Dead Island? Like, what is this? Enter Dying Light. Dying Light, I feel, is the spiritual successor of Dead Island 1. Dying Light did everything Dead Island 1 did, but even better with the movements, the gameplay mechanics. Dying Light was one of my favorite games of 2015, easily. That is one of the bigger sleeper hits of 2015, because that game is actually really, really good. And I actually did a walkthrough when I was back doing walkthroughs. I did a walkthrough of it on MavAttack, so there's like me playing through the whole Dying Light main story and everything. They did it right. They did open world zombies right. They did it good. They did it right, and they did it good. And I feel like this is the spiritual successor of Dead Island 1. It took all the good parts of Dead Island and took all the bad parts and just improved on everything. Now let's talk about Dead Island 2. So I did my discussion video way back when. They dropped a gameplay video, which I'll have the gameplay video playing in the background of this video so you guys can see the gameplay. So with Dead Island 2, they wanted to keep it more based on Dead Island 1 or even Borderlands-esque, right? And I think during development, they kind of had a change of heart between Yeager and Deep Silver. So earlier on in development, Deep Silver wanted it to be more like a Borderlands game, more like Dead Island 1. But then, I guess slowly as development kept rolling forward, and Techland put out Dying Light, then Deep Silver was like,
oh shit. Yo, Techland put out a hit just now. Hey, yo, Yeager. Yo, skip this whole Borderlands thing. Yo, make this like Dying Light.
And I think that's what fucked the game up, because Yeager was already working and was pretty much almost finished with the game. And I will have links to articles below so you guys can read upon it and see like what Yeager's mindset was. So I think that's when Yeager was really like, wow, like we can't change this far in. Like there's people's jobs at stake. Like this is the game that we've been creating this whole time, and now you want to change it like this.
Deep Silver was like, all right, if you can't do that, then we're gonna find somebody else that can.
And drop them off. So Yeager is pretty much no longer in existence anymore. They made the awesome game Spec Ops: The Line. So in my mind, I'm like, Yeager is perfectly capable of handling Dead Island 2. There should not be a reason why they can't do this. And you know, it's sad that their vision just kind of fell out of alignment and didn't really match up with what the publisher and developer wanted. It kind of like eventually over time, you know, they spread apart. Having to stop development that late on in development is bad. Like, you don't understand the money that was spent, the jobs that are being just destroyed, like all of the resources that were used to push this game forward and got it to the point where it was about to be released. It's gone now. Like, all of that is wasted. For the people that lost their jobs and for this big switch up like this, I mean, Dead Island 2 wasn't going to be an amazing game from what I was seeing, but it was going to be a fun-ass experience. I think the game was going to be limited by not having a narrative or anything, but the open world California setting looked pretty decent, and just, you know, you were able to drive cars and customize your cars, more like a Dead Rising 3 type of thing where you could, like, run around a city, but there was not really a story. You just do missions for different people. And they were also saying there was going to be 8-player co-op where you and your crew could come in, another crew could come in, you guys could either battle each other or work together. So what's the point of this video? I just wanted to bring this to light. I just wanted to talk about it. I wanted to discuss with you guys, like, where is Dead Island going? Is Dead Island gone for good? Like, should we even have our hopes up for another Dead Island game? It saddens me because, like I said, the first Dead Island was a really fun game. Riptide, meh, but they had a good concept, and then Dying Light. So really the question is, I guess, is Dead Island dead, and is Dying Light taking its place? That's the better question to ask. So I feel like Dying Light is the spiritual successor and the one to take the torch and carry on through the zombie theme, the zombie apocalypse theme of video games. So let me know all your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. It's sad to see that, you know, Deep Silver have been the scumbags they have been and stopped development because the game wasn't up to par with what they wanted. Even late in it, like, don't stop the fucking game. Don't stop development of the game, like, you know, when you're 90% complete. Stop that shit when you're at 30% or 40%. They literally were swayed by what they saw their previous developer, Techland, what they did with the awesome Dying Light, and they were like,
damn. Yo, we want Dying Light. We don't want Dead Island 2 anymore. We want this bullshit on here. We want damn.
So let me know all your guys' thoughts and opinions down below in the comment section. If you guys played Dead Island, did you enjoy that game? And was it better or was it not as good as Dying Light? And would you want to see another Dead Island game? Or if you want to just go straight to Dying Light 2? That's kind of where I'm sitting. At the moment, that's where I'm sitting. Just with this happening and with Dying Light coming out and how good Dying Light was and how bad Dead Island Riptide was and just this catastrophic shit that happened over here at Deep Silver, I just want another Dying Light 2. That's all I want. Like, Dead Island is kind of done for me. And it's sad to say that because that was an awesome game with an awesome theme. But thank you guys all so much for watching this episode of MavAttack. If you enjoyed this episode of MavAttack, be sure to freaking click that like button. As always, I appreciate you guys very, very much. The live stream we had yesterday was freaking hype. Shout out to everybody that came through the stream. And shout out to everybody that do come through the streams regularly. I appreciate seeing you guys there. And we have so much fun on the streams. But all you He-Mavs stay rad and all you She-Mavs stay fab now. See you guys on the next episode of MavAttack. Motherfucker. What's going on?